Hey people, we are back, and on this episode, I spent Fat Tuesday with Bender only and me recording episode 256. We go all over the place. We had a real good time just talking about a whole bunch of different pop culture, drinking a couple of beers, and generally just, entertaining ourselves. Hopefully it entertains you as well. If so, please hit that rate, share, like, subscribe, whatever that button is that makes us better. Comment. Comment helps the algorithms. Even if you're shitting on us, more comments the better. I don't mind. I'll wipe it off. I'm a big boy. So do all that stuff, and hopefully you enjoy this episode, and you should hear it a little bit after the bomb goes off, which is normally right here. All right, I'm going to be honest with you right up front. I really did not type up or write anything down. That said, I have watched a lot of stuff here lately.
Me too.
So we're just going to jump right into it. And
I got that thing that we talked about when we were drunk about movies being too long. I grabbed a list of super long, or best 90-minute movies.
Okay. The best 90-minute movies are movies that don't involve Kevin Costner. And on that note, we're back. This episode is recording a day late, and I'm going to get into that here just a bit.
I just thought you kicked me off.
And, I did, and then today I felt guilty about it, so I invited you back. But no, this is just me and John. I think this is episode 256, so say hi, John.
Hey!
See, that was your alley-oop for the old school cliche joke. You were supposed to say hi, John. You missed it. You missed dad jokes. But no,
been a long day, bro.
So what happened is last night was the first night back at keeper training, and I kind of forgot about that. And then I'd also invited, or Ken Calcaterra reached out and asked if we would do a podcast together again a couple weeks ago, and I said, yeah, let's do it on this day. And he texted me, he goes, hey, I'm on my way, and I'm like, shit, I'm out of rush.
You're a real deadbeat.
But that said, I did purchase the brand new board game from Funko called Warriors, the survival game.
I saw you post that picture.
Yeah, and I did reach out to Ken, and if you can make it, great. If not, I got to find some players. Maybe we'll do an episode for on a Sunday, this coming up Sunday, and Ken said he might film it or help film it.
I can't do this Sunday.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. And if we do, we'll it'll be all right.
Yeah.
And then we'll do a YouTube episode, and
that'd be awesome.
And then just do the commentary.
I haven't played a board game in a long time.
I got a bunch of new ones.
I know, man.
We got a ton over here. Well, they're hidden right now, but I've got a ton of them.
And that drywall that's never getting up.
Yeah, I know. Well, what happened is I cut it down, then I was ready to put it up, and it's a half-inch too wide, and I've been dreading cutting a half-inch off of that.
The whole thing?
Yeah, just that whole length.
Ugh.
I know. I was like, how did I should measure twice, cut once.
Yeah, at least you didn't cut yourself. I always cut myself.
No, that is not good. But anyway, so that's why we're here on a day late. We don't have any, no Jay, no Tommy, but Tommy and I did.
Did you guys meet up on Sunday?
We did.
Nice.
And I gave him a real hard time for the Persino idea. Persinos, or however you pronounce it.
Oh, it's nice, though.
Yeah, but it's not a soccer bar.
It's not, but he's a fancy boy.
Yeah, but Bender, he goes, me and Bender once watched some soccer there.
I think everybody thought we were on a date.
Yeah. Well, and I said, I still, that doesn't do it for me. I go, because you look at it, it's not a bar.
But the soccer games are on.
Okay.
The Bloody Marys are good.
Well, that's what he said. He goes,
and their breakfast was good.
He said, my thought was more about their breakfast. And then when you told me it was on ESPN Plus, I was like, well, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
So they reached out to Hat Tricks, and they were going to do it for them. But then the Corner Pub, which is a great place, too.
I don't think I've been there.
It's the same owners as the Shack.
Oh, okay.
And it's right there by
I know
it.
what you're talking about.
And so we went there. They let us in 30 minutes early. Tom and I got there about 10:25 before the place opened. And then his buddy got there, and there was already a line waiting, so we had to hop over the fence and come in the back door. And the management knew it. They were like, They go, we cannot bring him through the front door.
That's cool.
And then his neighbor, I believe Bryce.
I don't think I've met his neighbor.
He seems like a cool dude. He came. So we watched the Chelsea-Liverpool game. It was 3 people rooting for Chelsea, and then Tommy.
Yeah.
And it was maybe one of the best 0-0 games I've ever seen.
Cool.
But then, and I posted on Facebook about this, Mendy was by far the keeper for Chelsea was the player of the match. He made unbelievable save after unbelievable save. Well, in the second overtime, about 3 minutes left, they subbed him out for Kepa, who they is who they like to use in the shootouts. So they go to shootouts, and so they take Mindy out, the guy who's been the best player on the field, and put in Kepa. And in the shootout, neither keeper makes a save. It goes all the way through the 10-man roster, gets down to the keeper. Liverpool's keeper buries it, and Kepa, the guy who subbed in for Mindy, sailed one about as good as an American field goal.
Nice.
Up over. And I was like, if I'm Mindy, I go smoke my coach right now. And I get it. They've won games going this strategy.
That sucks, though.
But he had the hot hand. He was literally, per the TV coverage, the man of the match. He was the best player of the day, and he didn't get a chance to play any overtime.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Well, in the shootout.
Yeah, that's shitty.
Yeah, that's over managing right there.
Yeah.
But no, we had a good time though. We probably tied one on pretty good. I mean, I think we had 5 beers. I bought his stuff because I missed his birthday, and then I come home and took a nice, healthy 1-hour nap.
There you go. Yeah, I was going to go, but then Jeremiah had his first game of the season. I sat outside in like the 20-degree weather, and I was like, I'm so cold and tired.
It got really sunny and pretty, though.
It did, but not at 8 o'clock in the morning.
No,
and by the time the game was over, I couldn't feel my feet, and I was just like, I just need to go home and relax. I went out with him on Friday, and I met his brother for the first time, and
Maddie?
his sister.
Yeah, I've never met his sister, but I've met Maddie a couple of times. I've hung out with Maddie in a pay-per-view situation 3 times.
Super nice guy. It's the first time I met him, and his sister's really nice too.
He may go by Matthew or Matt, but Tommy calls him Matty. So that's just the only way I know him.
And I was joking around with him. I was like, so Tom got the full blast of the old salt and pepper hair, huh? Because Matt still holds on to a little bit of it. Yeah,
he's not a bad-looking dude.
Yeah.
He's got a nice head of hair. And
he's got the full hair, but he's got like he's salt and pepper, and he's got a little bit of brown in there, dirty brown in there, dirty blonde, whatever you say.
I tell you what he's got. He's got a hair that's fading just enough that no one would notice if he just fermented it.
Yep.
Tom cannot.
No.
No, we'd all show up and we'd be like, whoa, Count Dracula, what's going on?
And when I first met Tom like 10 years ago, he was a little more salt and pepper. He's more salt now.
When we started this podcast 6 years ago, the first time he guested, he had way more dark hair. I had 2 kids in the time that he's been on this show, or you've known him, will do that to you.
Yeah, so I was giving him a little shit about that, but we had a good time. I met him up at Cyberg's.
Oh yeah, how did Cyberg's go?
It was good. We just
you didn't go to
No, I had volleyball with the boys, so and I finished that and shot over there. And by the time I got over there, Jay didn't end up going.
No, he was at Top Golf and he did not go to Cyberg's.
It was fun. There was a nice political argument. I didn't get into it, but it was him and his brother-in-law.
How did you not get in it?
I just
you saw your audience and you're like,
stabbed myself in the leg with a butter knife.
These people don't know me. I need to be on my best behavior.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to get into politics, but I do have a politics sort of slanted story.
Yeah.
Here we are sitting on the eve of World War III, and I randomly. For those that don't know, I love the show Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee.
Yeah.
But there's been like 13 seasons of this show.
Mm-hmm. I haven't watched it in a long time.
They started on Crackle, and then they moved over to Netflix, and then Netflix picked up some of the old Crackle ones and has released them as kind of like best ofs each season. So I've only watched, I watched the Netflix seasons front to back. Well, but then I was like, you know what? I've never went back and watched these old seasons. So I went back, Missy and I think I was sitting here, it was yesterday or Sunday, and I put on the Barack Obama one.
Oh, yeah.
And here's my thing. And I'm not getting into a political debate. I don't want to do that. We're going to get into a conversation about personalities. Mm-hmm. You cannot, I don't give a fuck how much chewing and fucking Confederate flag waving you do. If you were to close your eyes and just listen to that interview, I defy you to not like that guy.
No, he's the charming human being.
And
very
smart as hell.
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah.
And just, I was like, I told Missy, I was like, again, I don't want to go too political, but it's baffling that we went from this guy to the most asshole, egotistical guy. I don't think he's dumb. I think he clearly is a brilliant marketing mind.
Yeah.
But certainly the biggest asshole that we've ever seen, we've ever really seen. There might have been asshole presidents. Nixon may have been. Lyndon B. Johnson may have been. I don't know.
Wasn't B. Johnson the one who used to make people sit in the bathroom with him?
I don't know. He had the biggest dick, apparently.
Yeah, that was it. He used to call you in while he's taking a shit or piss and stuff.
There's a recorded phone call with him calling what's Dockers, the Docker company, calling the head of the guy like, I need to take, but you gotta take out the crotch area because it really bunches up my manhood or whatever he said. It's a great conversation hearing him talk about how much his nuts are cramped because of his big old Johnson, literally Johnson. But anyway, so there was no TV like there is for Trump. I mean, Trump is the definition of a social media president. He's the
definition of chaos. He loves
of social media, but
he would have never been president without social media.
But again, going just back to that interview with Jerry Seinfeld, just watching that interview and listening to Barack Obama, it's like, well, this is the coolest fucker, and he wanted to drive the car. They're in a Corvette. So he goes to drive the car with him.
Yeah, they're on the grounds, right?
Yeah, and they won't let him out.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah, he's like, watch this. He's like, you get to do whatever you want. You're the president of the free world, or the leader of the free world. He's like, watch this. And they drive up, and he's like, no, sir, you can't leave.
And they go off, and Jerry goes, I don't think you sold it well. He goes, you didn't lean into it.
Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah, I haven't watched that in a long time. I didn't even realize it was still going.
I don't think it is. It's just if you haven't watched them all and you need some something to throw on
some
in the comfort food in the background. You watch that. I'm going to drink the rest of this.
You
said good.
The wife and I have been watching for comfort food. Abbott Elementary, which is, you can have the rest of it. It's good.
No, go ahead. I'm listening to you though.
Abbott Elementary, which is ABC's new show. I guess it's replacing Modern Family or whatever.
Got good reviews.
It's very charming. It's a lot of fun. It's about
it's a bunch of black teachers and stuff, right?
Yeah, they're not all. It's like a young black teacher.
It's almost the opposite of what a '90s sitcom would have been with majority of white cast with a couple of black people. It's
it's like
which is not a bad thing.
No. It's like the young black girl who's like full of hope and she's going to change the young minds and really mold them. And then there's the old grizzled grizzled's not the real word, like good word because she's like very well put together and attractive, but she knows everything and just like stops the kids with a look like teacher. And then there's the South Philly like kind of gangster Italian teacher. And then there's like a goofy little white guy who's always like super woke and talks about that shit all the time, and all the black people just roll their eyes. But it's fun, it's charming, and it deals with like real issues about like budgets and schools and stuff, but at like low stakes, and it's a lot of fun. We're having a good time with it.
I thought about checking it out.
It's definitely one of those just throw it on and let it roll.
I tell you, the only new show that we've watched is Pivoting.
Which one's that?
It's on Fox or ABC. I can't remember. Whichever one is going to be canceled because it's pretty good and it's on a weird night. Mm-hmm. But it's the blonde woman who was married to the Wayans brother from Happy Endings.
Okay.
If you can remember her. Oh. She was also on Scrubs.
I know what you're talking about. Is that any good?
And it's the youngest of the sister wives from that HBO show.
Yeah, with
and she was also in Enchanted or whatever that.
Yep.
And then
Bill Paxton, the show with Bill Paxton.
Yeah. Big Love.
Yep.
And then I don't know who the Asian actress is. I mean I know who she is. I don't remember all the things. She might be from Killing Eve. Or whatever. Not Killing Eve.
That's Sandra Oh.
No, okay, not Killing Eve. Racist.
Yeah.
She you've recognized me. Anyway, the whole point of the show is that their best friend died, and it's literally starts in their lives right after the funeral.
Okay.
And it's their best friend.
Okay.
And it was the glue, not necessarily the glue that held them together, but the one that they all confided in. Like there's this really sweet moment where the best characters by far is, and I wish I knew her name, is the woman that was from Scrubs. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. Her comedic timing,
She's
character.
really funny.
Dude, and her character, she's like
what's it called again?
Pivoting. And she's like some really high-ranking businesswoman, and she doesn't even know her own kids. So she, after her friend dies, she decides to be a better mom. So she comes home, and every day she's like, I know our nanny, our house, our keeper. She's judging me because every day she comes home, she's like, oh, we didn't expect to see you today. But
her name's Amy in the show. It's Eliza Coupe.
Yeah,
is the actress.
She's great. So what's the character from Big Love
is Jennifer Goodwin. Jodie is her character she plays, and then Maggie Q.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
She's been in a lot of stuff. But so Jennifer Goodwin though, so her character has an asshole husband who no one really likes. But you don't know if he's an asshole, if he's just not an attentive husband because they're slow playing it.
Yeah.
But she's sleeping with her, just started having an affair with her instructor, her physical therapist, or physical trainer.
So is it a drama or a comedy?
It's a comedy.
Okay.
But it's more of a dramedy or a real life,
Okay.
Yeah. But it's very good. I tell you this. Missy wanted to watch it because it's very much a female forward show.
Yeah.
But man, Elizabeth Coop or whatever, or Eliza Coop. She's just so fucking good in it, and they're all good.
Yeah.
And Maggie Q's character is a doctor that just got tired of the day-to-day grind of being a doctor, so she just quit. Now she's
kind of racist to make her a doctor.
So she's a bagger and a grocery clerk at their Whole Foods.
That's awesome.
But she's also always gets drawn into doctor stuff.
Yeah.
She's also a lesbian and starting to sleep with younger women and stuff, and they're needy, and it's just typical, like anybody would have a problem if they were in their like 39 and dating 20-year-olds.
25-year-old. Yeah.
And so it's a good show. Fleshed out characters are fun.
I did want to watch it, and I saw a bunch of ads leading up to it, and then I never saw anything once it launched. So I'll have to look it up.
You
I'm sure
can watch
it's on Hulu.
Yeah, I don't know if it's on Hulu because it's ABC.
All that stuff's on Hulu.
Yeah, and it's only 4 episodes in, something like that. So
she was that Maggie Q was when they rebooted Nikita. She was the new Nikita.
That's right. I knew
the face from somewhere, and I never even watched that show.
They're all 3 good. Don't let me down.
Oh yeah.
But not only is Eliza Coop funny and like the funniest, but her husband's awesome in it too.
Oh yeah.
And then the widowed husband is a black guy, and he's great. And they're always at his house trying to clean it up or take care or do the things that he never did. But he doesn't come out as a sympathetic figure, like where you're always like, oh, here he is. No, he's got his shit together.
Yeah.
They just refuse to let him have all of his shit together. They're there all the time.
That's awesome.
So it's worth watching. So
yeah, that and did you watch How I Met Your Father yet?
No, I have not. Is it good?
I like it.
Okay.
It's cheesy, but it's entertaining, and it's 0 brain cells to watch. It took probably 2 episodes to get the characters established, but they're pretty good, and I'm liking it. And Hilary Duff's a pretty solid actress. I haven't seen her in really anything since she was a little kid. Yeah.
Been a while.
I mean, she had kids and stuff. She looks pretty good, though.
You know what? Oh, yeah, she's always had her shit together. You know what? We started watching. I never watched it, but I think it's Peacock. Heart to Heart, Kevin Hart's talk show.
Oh yeah,
and there's been some funny clips with him and Don Cheadle where they released that where he goes, "Damn."
Yeah, when he told him how old he was.
Yeah, but it's pretty good. Like we've only watched a couple. We've watched the Ice Cube one. We watched 3 of them, and there's only like 10. Mm-hmm. But like, so we did watch, kind of the same vein of your Hillary Duff thing. We did watch the one with Cameron Diaz on how she just bowed out of Hollywood.
Oh, was it a documentary?
No, it's a 40-minute interview.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's not a skit like you think from that, but it's a 40-minute interview, and it's all under the guise of that this is his wine cellar. It's clearly a fake background, but they drink wine while they do it. And,
okay.
They get a little buzzed. But the Cameron Diaz one, I got to tell you, this is a woman that, for when she broke in Mask, I was like, well, this may be the hottest woman on the planet. She was smoking hot. And then by the time Charlie's Angels came around, I was like, well, she's kind of annoying.
But she always played one-dimensional characters.
Yeah, well, and Kevin Hart, even, being Kevin Hart, he goes... And this is, sometimes you forget about this, but Kevin Hart goes, he called her a comedic actress. She goes, well, that's great that you called me a comedic actor. He goes, your timing in what is one of the 4 or 5 funniest movies ever made, and There's Something About Mary, he goes, I'm a stand-up comic. I'm a big one. He goes, that's one of the funniest movies ever made. Yeah. He goes, and you're a big reason. And she goes, well, I appreciate that. And listening to her talk, she did The Mask. Mm-hmm. And then she got all these roles as the hot chick. Yeah. So she purposely, her next like 4 or 5 films were like all independent films. That some of them if you look them up, you're like, oh,
I know what you're talking about.
And then she did and then she got Something About Mary, and then she's like.
She did a bunch of independent ones again.
Then she did Charlie's Angel, which was a blockbuster franchise. They made so
terrible,
much.
But yeah.
The first one wasn't bad.
Yeah, it was okay.
But they made so much money, and she was like, once she got done, she said, she got done with the Charlie's Angels, and she goes, you know what? I grew up, learned how to change my own oil because, in case I ever needed to, and learned how to. She goes, I have someone to do my bills, someone to do. She goes, I don't like that. Yeah. So she goes, I couldn't stay in Hollywood and do that. So I was like, okay, I'm just done. I've got money.
Where'd she go?
She did nothing.
She stayed in L.A., but...
She got married. She has a wine company with one of her best friends now.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's low-sugar wines.
Yeah.
They had a surrogate do her, and now they're parents. She's got a young kid. But I'll tell you this.
What do you think about that? That's kind of weird, though, right?
Yeah, but I guess they waited later in life because she was like, I'm not going to have kids.
How old is she?
40 hot. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, but she's still smoking.
Yeah, you might as well not risk it.
But I tell you this. Here's what was cool about it. Missy wanted to watch it. And I was like, oh great. Here's fucking Cameron Diaz. Mm-hmm. She might have her shit together more than anybody. And she goes, now I don't do anything unless it sounds fun. Mm-hmm. She goes, I got the call from your person, and they said, hey, Kevin Hart's got a new talk show and he wants you to be on it.
She's 49. That makes sense to get a surrogate then.
And she goes, Kevin Hart, I like him. Yeah, I'll do it. And she's like, so this is the first interview I've done in like 4 years.
Oh,
5 years.
That's cool.
And I'm like, wow, here's someone that got in, got paid, got out.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of on that same vein. If you think about it, like Jessica Simpson always pops up on that like list of billionaires you didn't think were billionaires.
Because of all the makeup and all that.
Well, the makeup and all that stupid money, the clothes she sold at Kohl's. Like, she made a fucking fortune off of that, and now she doesn't have to do anything. It was like, where have you been? And she's like, I don't have to do anything.
Yeah. The only problem I have that when they talk about billionaires, because, they say that the Olsen twins are billionaires. They ain't billionaires.
No, but her company, her brand is worth $1 billion. Yeah.
You have never checked into this beer, by the way, and I
thought I checked into it the other day.
Pliable process.
I've been real bad about it lately.
Hey, but the only reason I bring it up because I have to check into it and I'll show you here in a second. But this is one from Main and Mill. This is the second Main and Mill you brought. I haven't had that American Pale Ale, so I can
I didn't. I only had one left.
I can. Oh, I can't. Oh, yeah. Then never mind. But anyway,
it says I checked it.
Pliable process.
00. No, this is 003 002.
Let's see what this is. That's
003-2.
Where's it say
I checked
that
into 002-4. This is real. This is a fucking stimulating.
Right there. Oh, okay.
Stimulating podcast.
Well, we are a beer podcast, but I was like, well, what the shit is it? Anyway, so this beer is called Pliable Process from Main and Mill. It's a 6.3 ABV. It has I don't see the IBUs on it, but that's okay because that's a kind of a bullshit standard anyway. It's just either hoppy or it's not hoppy, I think.
I think this is a little bit in the middle.
Well, anyway, I'm checking into this. Once I get checked into this, I believe once I check in, this will be beer 1,999 on my check-ins. So
I'm going to check into it too, even though I technically cheated and when I scanned the barcode, it brought up the wrong one.
I did find it now, and someone is checked into it. You are checked into it. You've had it. No, you've had it already. You had it at Main and Mill.
I've never.
Oh no, you had it at Beer Sauce Shop. There's your picture.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. So anyway,
I guess I have had it.
Yeah. So anyway, it's
been a while since
I've had it,
real quick. And that can't be that. It's probably not that same.
You probably checked into the wrong one then.
Yeah, probably.
Oh man, I don't know that I dig this.
It's different.
Yeah. But I dig you, and you're different.
Yeah,
Anyway, yeah. So I mean,
reasons for the seasons.
I've been, like I said, I haven't watched a bunch of new shows, but I've been watching. Like I've already covered stuff on here, but I've been like today. I've got the home show all week starting Thursday.
Oh, that's exhausting.
Got meetings tomorrow. I know it's awful. I got meetings tomorrow. Yesterday I had to set up for the home show, so today I had an office day. I turned on a movie called Restless. It's just some new movie. So I love all the foreign movies and stuff on Netflix, and this was like a French action movie. Good movie. It's okay. It's 2.5, 3 maybe at best. But I do, every time I have to take a dump, I check my iTunes app. I think, and I didn't scroll through, but I think there's 3, maybe 4 Bruce Willis movies trailers on iTunes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I never use the iTunes app. That's what you go for trailers?
No, the Apple trailers or the trailers app.
Oh, okay, okay.
But I mean, we talk about him all the time on how
Yeah.
he makes these movies, and one's with Frank Grillo, one's with Cole Hauser. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, I have the Fire Stick, and there's always like an ad for one of his movies up, and I'm like, is this an old one or is this an ad for a new one?
It's insane.
Yeah, like whatever, man. I guess you're making money. Let's see what else I got here.
He's got to make all the money, like $1 million, like every time he makes a movie,
and he only works for like a day or something.
And he seemingly makes 20 movies a year.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's got like a real bad gambling debt or something.
I don't know. Hell, look at that beer, 1999.
There you go. Let's see what I'm up to. I watched. Did you watch the new Kingsman yet?
Yes, I did watch it.
Did you like it?
Yeah,
I thought it was fine.
it was different.
I was expecting more.
It was more political.
Yeah.
Than I expected, and drug on in parts.
Yeah, a little bit.
But
I was expecting more over the top. And
Yeah.
It just wasn't.
well, it does get a little over the top.
A little bit.
The Russian dude licking your
Yeah,
leg.
was it Ra's al Ghul?
Rasputin.
Rasputin. I mean, yeah. I was
Ra's al Ghul.
I was listening to a podcast about Batman earlier.
Little Batman crossover with the Kingsman.
I think it
But
worked.
yeah, no, like he was over the top and
Yeah.
badass.
Yeah, but like the whole licking his leg thing, I'm like, where is this going?
He fixed him.
Yeah, but
Oh.
yeah, it was weird. But I don't know. I was expecting more like gadgety stuff, like the
Well, it was the beginning.
yeah. I don't know.
And because they didn't even have the Kingsman
Yeah.
Taylor place didn't
Yeah.
even have. Well, that's the only reason it didn't bother me on some of the slowness to it, because it was a pretty good way. You know what it was? It was a believable way of setting up the Kingsman Society. And
I
that's
agree.
the only thing I wish would have happened more is they would have leaned into also the Americans. What were the Americans called with the bourbon?
Oh yeah, I can't remember.
But I wish they would have leaned into it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, like, and I guess the other problem I had with it was at the end, the guy spoiler alert, the guy who switched places with his son, he's just in. Like, he just did one thing.
Well, he did say though. He goes, his son gave him all the clues and told him he was sent a letter saying this is a good man, a dependable man.
Yeah.
So his dad trusted his son, and his son was a great dude. I
was.
did not see him dying the way he
No, I
died.
didn't either. And
Spoiler alert.
That battle though, in between the trenches, was pretty freaking sick.
Yeah.
That was a good battle.
There was a lot of cool moments in it.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
just-
see the bad guy coming.
No, I didn't see that either. Honestly, I thought it was gonna be Daniel Radcliffe. I was like, is this gonna be Daniel
That'd be
Radcliffe?
hilarious.
Because he's like the bad guy in that new Sandra Bullock and
That looks awesome, like
Yeah.
modern day romancing the Stones.
Yeah. What's the other guy? Channing Tatum.
And Brad Pitt.
Oh yeah.
Why
It
are you
looks
so good looking? My dad was a weatherman.
I'm at 1442 for
Yeah, that's not bad,
individual
though.
beers, 1,787 check-ins.
I'm torn waiting to get to Indy in 3 weeks, but I'm just going to try a new beer between now and then. I really want like big events
Yeah.
to happen in big places, but I'm not
I
waiting.
know,
until
like
New
when I
York.
got my 1,000th beer, we were in Florida.
Yeah,
And
which is awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. It was at a little small brewery that was awesome.
I'll tell you.
Still there.
I'll tell you a movie that I watched and was. I'm not going to go out on a limb. I'm not going to go as far as to say severely disappointing, but it wasn't great. And
Okay.
that is Snake Eyes, a G.I.
You
Joe
watched
origin.
that?
It was on TV.
Where?
Showtime.
Oh,
Or no,
Showtime.
Epix was free for like a weekend.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, Snake Eyes is on.
There's a podcast that I listen to, and they do a running joke where they usually review a movie at the end of every episode, or somewhere in the episode, and they're like, "We're getting to the Kingsman and Snake Eyes this week," and then like they
Wow.
get all the way through, and at the end, like, "Oh, sorry guys, we didn't get to Snake Eyes
Yeah.
this week.
Well,
Next week it is."
Here's my problem with the Snake Eyes movie. One,
talked?
it's not. Well, we'll get to that's the big problem. It's not a bad movie. It's just not a G.I. Joe movie.
That's what I've heard from everybody that's watched it.
Let me rephrase it. It's not a very good movie.
It's a
either.
fine movie.
No, it's an average movie.
Okay.
Below fine. I don't know what's below fine, but not bad. It's passable as a film. Yeah, it's an film. On our 5-point scale, it'd be like a 1.75.
Okay. I mean, I'd drink it.
It maybe 2.
Yeah.
So here's the problem.
You're not pausing to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, it took me a long time to watch it. I paused a lot.
Okay.
Just because I didn't want to, maybe at some point he's going to get his vocal cords damaged and he's not going to talk. That never happens. In fact, and I don't care if this is a spoiler, not only does it never happen, but at the end of the film, when Scarlett gives him his Snake Eyes uniform, here you go, or they say, here, take this. He puts it on and rides off at a motorcycle, still 100% able to talk. Not even in the post-credit scene do you see him stop talking.
So
he never stops talking.
What if he would have rode off and got into an accident and had his
vocal
cord impaled by like a tree stump? Would that have been all right?
I'd have been better than what happened. Because now there's I guess they were like, well, let's see how great it does. Which, by the way, it bombed.
I mean, the pandemic at least took like 5 million.
If it was in the theater, it would have bombed.
Yeah, it would have.
But they were hoping, so it was so successful that there would have been a good point to have the sequel, but in between it and the first G.I. Joe, where they could have done that.
Yeah.
Here is the thing, though: the guy that plays Snake Eyes and all the actors in it do a very good job.
Yeah.
Except the Baroness. I don't like that they changed Baronesses.
From the
G.I. Joe movies, yeah.
Just the canon was so important in that?
No, I just don't think she did a good job compared to what the other Baroness was.
Oh, okay.
Who I think was Samara Weaving, I think
so.
And she's smoking hot. Like that this girl was, she was nothing to...
You wouldn't kick Jigger Battler.
Yeah.
Kick her out of bed for eating crackers.
Right.
All the
whatever the cliches
regular
are.
analogies.
Yeah, but...
that are outdated.
Here's the problem,
sexist.
though. Outside of all that, so we have Larry Hama, who's the godfather of G.I. Joe storytelling. Wrote all the backs of the cards and the comic, for those people that don't know. Still
really?
writes the comics to this day.
See, G.I. Joe was a little before my time.
So, but apparently they decided to say, well, let's take Snake Eyes that has an established lore, and an established background, an established story, and let's completely change it.
Yeah.
And they take one of the best villains of all time in Storm Shadow, a guy so cool that he eventually becomes a good guy in G.I. Joe canon.
Yeah.
And let's completely not do his, because he's in the movie, and it's bad. I mean, it just makes no sense to call this a G.I. Joe film.
Now, do you think it's because, and I could be wrong, because I watched there was like a cartoon about 10, 15 years ago.
A pretty cool cartoon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like
we watched it. It was on whatever.
Yeah, but they were like not brothers, but they were like in the same training school.
Yes.
Did
Storm Shadow betrays them?
Yeah, I thought he
makes it looks like G.I. Joe or Snake Eyes did it. G.I. Joe,
but he gets sliced in the battle. Yeah.
None of that happens in this. In fact, Storm Shadow is the heir apparent to take over anyway, and then there's this magic jewel that shoots fire. Yes, there's magic, which also I didn't see it coming.
Is there magic in the cartoon?
Yeah, but this one's kind of silly. Yeah. I mean, it's silly. The whole thing, they were after this jewel, which is the whatever they're called, the Akashi, whatever, the ninja folk. That's their it's the heart of them. That's their heirloom. Mm-hmm. The whole point of this movie was Snake Eyes had to infiltrate to steal it because he was being kind of dangled who killed his father. And
I was gonna say, do you think it's because that's like the trope of every basic ninja movie is like that betrayal?
Maybe, but this one came out in the 80s. Yeah, well, the reason Storm Shadow gets angry and turns to be a bad guy is because he has to get this jewel back and then use it to kill the bad guy. And then the granny who's actually running the clan, she goes, you know the rules. We're never allowed to use that, even if it's to save us. He goes, but I had to do it. She goes, rules are rules. So he was kicked out for using it, which makes him turn bad. And he's been the most diehard, he dethroned this criminal empire just to save his clan. And then just because he's using their weapon, they kick him out. Now he's the most evil guy.
Maybe it turned him bad.
Yeah, didn't seem to do that.
Maybe it was like a Horcrux.
It could have been. Maybe if they would have said that, also touching it, you lose your soul or something. Okay. Yeah. But they didn't say that. Yeah. They just said, hey, stop that. Now you can't come back inside. That's it. A dumb movie. I take it back. It's a bad movie.
Okay. Well, you've sold me. I won't watch it. I watched, since we're going to do, one more movie that I watched, and then we could talk about The Last Duel, which will lead into the 50 best movies under 90 minutes. We're not going to go all through all 50 movies, though. Antler, which was, have you watched that on HBO Max? horror movie?
I have not. We watched the trailer for it when we were trying to pick out a horror movie. Oh, I'll tell you a horror movie we did watch. I'm just going to tell you the plot and why we watched it. It was very dumb. But Antler was one we watched the trailer for, so I put it on my watch list.
It's okay. What'd you watch?
I can't even tell you the name. Oh no, we did, but I talked about that on here already. So, all right. I don't know the name of the movie. It's on Amazon Prime, and we like watching cheesy movies from time to time. Here's why I watched this movie. I put on the trailer. Missy goes, "Is this on your watch list?" And I go, "Yeah." She goes, "All right, we're watching it." And so we watched it, and it was silly as fuck. Here's why I watched it. It's a bachelor party. Mm-hmm. The stripper gets killed.
Okay.
By a ghost in the house.
Okay.
They try to get out of the house, and there's snipers that won't let them leave.
Why?
It's not important.
I mean, it sort of is important.
They managed to tie it all together, but this is a badly acted, bad special effects movie that the whole premise of the movies is that there's a poltergeist in the house, and there's snipers on the outside. I was like, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bore everybody on the podcast.
But why were the snipers out there? I got to know.
Okay, so the guy that rented them the house on Airbnb, it was his wife that's haunting the house.
Okay.
He was cheating on his wife. They tried to make it work.
I think I saw this preview.
He then decided, you know what? Fuck it. And he kills her. She refuses to leave and haunt. He pays 3 guys to kill her. And these are the guys that, he's made a deal with her that she will leave the house because the house is amazing. If she can find him a body to possess and a guy to love. So he keeps getting bachelor parties over, and the snipers are there to make sure no one leaves.
Keep him in there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And they're the same.
That's a terrible
They're
premise.
the same 3 guys that helped kill her in the first place. Oh, it's
a terrible premise, but I mean, I'd watch it.
It hooked me. So They, like I said, they managed to tie it all together.
Yeah, I watched Antler, and it popped up on my list because Guillermo del Toro produced it. He didn't direct it, but he produced it, and you can kind of tell.
Well, you can kind of tell, and I'll tell you why we did not watch it real quick, and then you tell me if I'm way off base here. Is the reason we didn't watch it is because we watched the trailer, and you could tell it's Guillermo del Toro by the bad guy, the monster.
Yeah.
And I told Missy, I go, well, they showed us the monster. They showed us the monster eating. They showed us what the boy was doing, and they showed us it full final form. And I go, I feel like we've seen the movie.
Yeah.
So I don't need to watch it.
It's not a bad movie.
It looked fine. It's got good reviews.
Kerry Russell's good. Jesse Plemons.
For those that don't know, that's Felicity.
Yeah, and Jesse Plemons is the guy from Breaking Bad who kills a little kid in like season 5 or something.
Yeah.
He's also married to Kirsten Dunst.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Also attractive.
But it's sad. It's just depressingly sad. She's an alcoholic teacher because her... All right, I'm going to spoil it. Are you ever going to watch it?
No, probably. Yeah, but I don't think it's the kind of movie I'm worried about getting spoiled.
Okay. Her brother is a sheriff of a small town.
Hey, by the way, people, spoiler warning.
Yeah, spoiler warning. Her brother is a sheriff of a small Midwestern town. She is an ex-alcoholic who comes home and she's, for some reason, like the 3rd grade teacher or something. There's a little boy in her class. He's kind of disturbed. She takes a liking to him. She's paying attention to him. It's a dying coal town in West Virginia. That's where it's at.
Okay.
And she's always struggling with like different things. And I guess she's trying to rescue this kid because her dad molested her as a kid. And like, that's in there, but it's not necessary. You know, like it doesn't change who she is or anything like that. Like all it does is make her like look at bottles of R&R when she goes to 7-Eleven. Yeah. It's weird. Not necessary. But then there's like the little boy in the town it's his dad who is the Antler monster and his little brother. And like he's taking care of them by like killing random animals in town. So everybody thinks he's like a psychopath and all. It's just sad. Like when I was done, like there was no satisfying like, ooh, monster gotcha. It was just like, that was a horrible situation all the way through.
Yeah.
And now I feel bad and I should probably donate some money to some sort of charity for poor West Virginia kids. Because like, at the end I was just like, ugh. I need to watch so I watched an episode of Rick and Morty to like
cleanse. That'll do it.
Yeah, but I was really wanting like a good horror, like gory monster movie, and I just got
that wasn't it.
No, I just felt bad for Coal Towns.
Well, you should have been feeling bad for Coal Towns since Coal Miner's Daughter.
Yeah, but I haven't seen that in a long time.
Do you have seen that though?
Yes, my mom is a
big Loretta Lynn fan.
Any of that tortured woman.
That would have been though. She'd have been watching that as a classic by the time you were old enough to remember it.
Well, my mom had me at 17.
Yeah.
So I grew up watching Grease, Fried Green Tomatoes.
Okay.
Coal Miner's Daughter.
Yeah, like I was saying, Coal Miner's Daughter was old even for when you. Yeah.
But she loves that old shit.
That's a good movie.
I'll tell you what. For as many times in Steel Magnolias, but for as many times as I watched,
Missy watches it every time it's on TV.
But as many times as a kid as I watched Fried Green Tomatoes, Rachel had never watched it, and I guess like a year or two ago,
she never know they were lesbians.
I didn't catch on.
I didn't catch on and refused to believe it when my mom told me over and over. And then as an adult, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
So I watched it with Rachel one day when we didn't have the kids. It was like a Sunday. We were laying around before we went and picked them up after going out. And I was like, this is a good movie. I remember watching it as a kid. I probably haven't seen it since I was 10. And then we're watching, I'm like, man, I did not pick up on any of these lesbian undertones all the way through this movie. It's a great movie, though.
Or that they fed a dude's body to
I knew that part. That part
a police
I knew.
officer.
Yeah, I caught that right away.
For a sweet movie, that's brutal.
Yeah, it is really brutal, but it's good. So you and I went out a couple weeks ago, and we were talking, and there was two things that the only topic that I really brought for real was two things. One, I watched The Last Duel, and around the same time that I watched The Last Duel, they announced the movie, the runtime for the Batman,
which is
out.
3 hours and 4 minutes or something like that.
And why? Why is it that long? We know Batman's origin story. It does not need to be that.
This is not his origin story.
Long.
This is his first year story.
It doesn't matter.
But it's not his origin story. That's not why it's that long.
But we know. We know.
Yeah, but if that's not the reason, that's not the reason it's that long.
But it doesn't need to be that long.
Yeah. I get that. No, I get it. But it's got nothing to do with his origin.
Either way. But I bet you it gets covered in there.
I'm sure they'll have a flashback.
I bet you there's like 20 minutes of fucking flashbacks where pearls get pulled off and there's a gun and I just guarantee it. Anyways, so around that time I finally pulled the trigger on The Last Duel. I danced around it for a while and I was like...
I think you've talked about it on the podcast.
I have not talked about it on the podcast.
Okay.
I've talked about it to you guys in length because I haven't been on the podcast since I watched it. I watched it like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Anyways, it's a Ridley Scott movie and it's a good movie. It is...
Which millennials ruined by not going to see it.
Yeah, by not going to see it. Yeah. But also they ruined it because it's not Braveheart. It's not Gladiator. It's a trial by combat over a rape. Yeah. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And it's set in 3 acts.
Tom echoed the same thought you did Sunday morning when we talked about this.
Yeah, it's set in 3 acts. You get the view from Matt Damon, who is the princess who gets assaulted's husband, and how he's been wronged by the king, which is Ben Affleck, who is solid in this, by the way. Very, very solid with the blonde hair.
He's a good actor.
Yeah. Then you get the second act, which is Adam Driver, who is the assaulter, and
also a great actor.
Yeah, and he came up through the military with Matt Damon, but was friends with he's not really a king; he's like a prince of this land. Ben Affleck's character.
Okay.
So he gets all the preferential treatment because they do orgies together.
Oh, okay.
And then there is.
I gotta tell you, you do orgies with the man, you're going to have to start doing political favors for him.
Yeah, right? I mean, like, you guys have seen each other naked?
Yeah, and maybe been in the same hole.
Yeah, maybe. At the same time. Possibly.
Maybe touched each other.
Yeah. And then the last one you hear is from...
The Girl.
The Girl, which is Jodie Comer. She's in Killing Eve. That's her biggest role. And she was in Free Guy.
Okay. Oh, yeah, Free Guy was awesome. I watched that.
It yet.
I did watch that.
So, and then that's the last story. And then there's a pretty good, like, duel battle where they, like, they ride and, like, joust. Joust. Great joust battle in the beginning, and then it ends with that joust battle, and that joust battle is fucking brutal. And it's just so long because it's the same story over and over again with slight changes of, like, where people felt wronged.
Yeah.
And you're like, by the end, you're like, fucking, you could have just looked at Matt Damon's and hers and got rid of Adam Driver's and saved everybody a fucking hour.
Let me ask you this, though. Do you find out about the orgies in Adam Driver's story?
Yes, you do.
But you don't
Adam
see
Driver's
it?
Story. No, you never.
Then there's
see
no
the
point.
All you see is 3 topless chicks who have way better boobs and bodies than any girl in that time ever did.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Yeah. But, Adam Driver's talking about some stuff, and it's pretty funny seeing Ben Affleck he knocks on Ben Affleck's door, and he's like, I'm getting this and that, and he's like, don't worry about it, man. Come in and take your pants off. And there's like 3 ladies just naked standing there, and he's like, but you don't understand, it's a big problem. He's like, yeah, we'll deal with it. Take your pants off. And he's like, okay, and he just takes his pants off and goes in. Yeah.
Times were good back then.
Yeah, I guess, if you were a lord. So those 2 things, I was like, that, along with like a couple other movies that I watched, movies are just too long. It drives
a lot of them,
me crazy. And before that, I watched Nobody. And it is a solid 1 hour and 30-minute movie with a solid plot and a story from front to back that you like. That
it's a good
easy
movie
to follow. It's
it's
spectacular. Bob Odenkirk, spectacular film. Like, he's an ex-hitman. He gets called back in. I forget why. And his father-in-law hates him, and you get all of that in the story. And his dad is a badass. You get all that in the story.
He didn't even get called back in. He just ends up
he gets himself back in because
somebody robbed his house.
Yeah.
And he was
feeling useless.
Well, and he didn't like being judged by his son.
Yeah.
So he's like, fuck this.
Yeah.
And then he had to go take it out on some people.
That's right. And I think there's supposed to be a sequel.
It's a good movie. And
it's a great movie.
Same production company, same stuff. Everything is John Wick movies. In fact, I hope they
cross them
exist in the same universe.
Dude, that'd be hilarious.
Well, because it's also kind of this weird underworld of hitmen in his as well. Because of RZA.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Well, it was absolutely great. So I started looking around for like great movies that are an hour and a half.
And there's a whole section of Netflix are 90-minute films.
Yeah. But this is from 2017.
Let's just go to the top 10.
Older. Dumbo, number 1, which I don't really care about.
Dumbo's number 1?
Yeah. Well, this is 50 through, so let's just.
Let's just go to the top 10.
That doesn't work like that.
Oh, okay.
It's just 15 in a row. Primer, 2004's Primer.
I don't even know what that
I don't
is.
remember that one either. Toy Story, solid.
First Toy Story, yeah.
Yeah, Squid and the Whale.
But see, then by Toy Story 3, it's 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Night at the Roxbury's, fucking hilarious.
It's a good movie.
It's funny.
Yeah, it's got its moments.
Let's jump. Slow West, great Western movie, solid hour and a half. It's got Ben Mendelsohn and Michael Fassbender in it.
Oh, okay.
It's very good. Blackfish, Borat, it's funny, hour and a half. Any longer, it would have been ridiculous. Black Dynamite. Chronicle.
That's a good movie.
I was looking at it.
Chronicle is a great movie.
And I was like, all right, I'm going through this, and I'm looking for movies that are. A lot of these are comedies, and you can do a tighter comedy, but Chronicle puts a whole plot in there. So does Nobody. Run, Lola, Run, which I've never watched.
Oh, it's a good movie.
The Evil Dead, spectacular horror comedy.
Yep.
This is Spinal Tap. What We Do in the Shadows, fucking hilarious. Safety Not Guaranteed, a nice indie drama comedy. District B13, great action movie. Tight. Paranormal Activity, Child's Play. And I'm just Zombieland. That was the one I was looking for.
Yeah.
Zombieland. Like, why can't all of those movies are great, hilarious, or action
good, just good movies.
Just good. And like, why does everything need to be 3 fucking hours?
I don't know. Old Henry, a movie I just recently watched and tweeted about.
Oh yeah, that's what's the guy's name in it?
Hour and 39 minutes, so 99 minutes long, and that is maybe one of my favorite westerns I've ever seen, and that's Tim Blake Nelson.
Yeah, it looks really good. I want to watch it.
Dude, I'm not gonna say.
Don't spoil anything.
It's a 5 out of 5 for me. The only spoiler I'll give everyone is there's a plot twist that you don't see coming until it's mentioned finally about 2/3 of the way through, or almost 75% of the movie, and then you're like, well, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for you to watch it.
Yeah, it's Slow West. If you get a chance to watch it, it's on Hulu. Michael Fassbender is a bounty hunter, and he's moving a Scottish teenager from one end of the country to the other, like as a bodyguard. But he's actually on the hunt for Ben Mendelsohn's character, and it's really good. It's got this kid. He's been in a lot of stuff, but he's just weird looking. His name's Cody Smith McPhee.
I was pulling it up right now. He's a weird looking kid.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of shit, but he's a really good actor. I It's great. It's a great movie. Definitely should watch it.
Oh, he's in that Power of the Dog. Well,
Which I haven't watched that.
Well, we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. Put a pin in that.
All right. Anyways, go ahead.
Well, I guess we'll just talk about it right now. So Power of the Dog, nominated for Best Picture. Sam Elliott just went off on it in an interview with Mark Maron.
Was he in that?
No, he's in 1887. He's probably 1883 or whatever, but he's probably the most. He's the oldest living Western star because he got his big break in Westerns. And,
plus he's got that push broom mustache.
And I'll tell you why I may not agree with him to how hard he goes, but he said the director of Power of the Dog, he said that person, I don't want to misquote who it is. Let me bring it up. By the way, never mind. Here, real quick. Now, I got it. Jane, it's a woman, Jane Campion. They did Bright Star, Power of the Dog, The Piano.
Piano with Adrian Brody?
Yes.
That's a good movie.
Yeah, well, Sam Elliott, Mark Maron said, "Did you see Power of the Dog?" He goes, he called it a piece of shit. He said it's the bastardization and raping of the American Western. And he talks about it, so I kind of watched some clips of it. I'm not saying he's right. What I'm saying, though, there's an argument to be made because essentially, if you don't know what the plot twist or the big thing about Power of the Dog is homosexuality.
I was going to say, isn't it like Brokeback Mountain, but in the...
Sort of repressed Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of scenes with a lot of really toned, like guys that wouldn't look like that, really.
Yeah.
Toned men washing their clothes and wet, sweaty, like a lot in the movie.
Yeah, but is it like supposed to be like through his eyes, what he's seeing or something?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I was going to say, isn't everybody hungry back then?
It's and so he's like he goes, it's essentially the final act or the very final scene of Mel Brooks's Blazing Saddles, only played out in a serious way because he calls it just he goes, and he even tells Mark Maron, he goes, I don't care about the homosexual aspect. It's just, that's a good story to tell. Yeah. It's just the way she chose to film it. It's just bastardizing the genre, and it's putting something that we know historically was not accurate.
Yeah.
Like that didn't happen. Like I mean, it happened, but it wasn't like so ambiguously all over the place.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't flamboyantly flaunted. I was like, he sounds like a grumpy old dude, and then you look at it a little bit and you're like, oh, maybe he's got a point a little bit. Okay. Maybe it's not maybe if you really break it down again,
maybe it was just her fantasy. Maybe she's just writing a fantasy novel.
Yeah, and sometimes I think that they throw Best Picture stuff up there because it's tackles that topic sometimes.
Well, that and I think what's his name, Benedict Cumberbatch, like stayed in character on and off screen. So like you hear like those stories about how basically he was a dick for 6 months or however long the movie was being
he's
filmed.
A great actor.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, he's a great actor, but like if you were around Daniel Day-Lewis or
you'd want to punch
like
him in the face.
I said cut, man.
Yeah, I was watching. I can't remember what I was reading an article. I can't.
Did you not answer the phone in that time?
Yeah, yeah, right. I was
get on your fucking horse and drive home.
Hey, listen, they didn't have running water, so how do you take a shit?
Maybe they don't. What's his name? Shia LaBeouf. Like, and Brad Pitt doesn't strike me as the cleanest of men.
Yeah.
He's always kind of got, like, he's attractive, don't get me wrong, but his hair always looks kind of
Well, he's got Hollywood hair, and they only wash your, and you're not supposed to wash your hair every day.
Yeah,
It's like twice a week.
But it always looks kind of greasy, like.
He doesn't look Johnny Depp.
But he doesn't look stinky. But apparently when they were shooting Fury, Shia LaBeouf method acted so hard when they all had to sit in that tank together, he didn't wash for as long as they were supposed to be in that tank.
Yeah.
And Brad Pitt had to be like, look, motherfucker, take a shower.
Well, the kid in that movie, both Brad Pitt and Shia LaBeouf almost whooped his ass.
Oh, really?
No, not the kid.
I think Shia LaBeouf was the one
Scott
who almost
Eastwood.
got it. Yeah.
Scott Eastwood. No, it's Scott Eastwood.
Oh,
because he spit his chew in the tank. And they were in that tank so much, they were like, motherfucker, don't spit in here. This is our home. This is disrespectful. And then they both had to apologize to him because it was in the script that he did that.
Oh.
And they got so into their tank that they were like, no, don't be fucking with it.
I guess if you're sitting in a room, I don't even... Yeah, I guess that would be kind of... it's a good movie.
I love the movie. Yeah, it's a really solid movie. But Shia LaBeouf has also had supposedly got in a fight with Tom Hardy on a set of that brother movie where they're the three whiskey runners are moonshiners.
Oh yeah, I heard that.
But they also say that Tom Hardy's the one that told that story, and it was kind of tongue in cheek. That Shia knocked him out.
I didn't read the story, but Charlize Theron apparently had to have protection from him or something.
She felt as if she needed protection.
Was he methoding too?
He was just hard, and he even said, I was really hard to get along with during the making of that movie because I was in way over my head on the type of movie it was. We were working long hours, and I was crabby, and he blew up at her multiple times.
Oh, okay.
And she felt unsafe because he's an aggressive guy.
Yeah.
Not a small guy. A character had 4 lines, so when he cusses you out, you're like, holy shit.
Is this the movie?
Yeah. But apparently, and I gotta tell you, that movie was fantastic. So
yeah. But hey,
we're talking about
Power of the Dog.
Mad Max Fury Road. Is what we were talking about. Yeah. But anyway, there's a lot of good 90-minute movies out there.
What is like? There really is, and don't get me wrong, the new Spider-Man was spectacular, but did it need to be 2 hours and 46 minutes long?
No, and I tell you the good thing about that movie, that's the exception, because Hayden sat through that whole thing and never once complained. But there are a lot of movies that she has refused to finish watching because they felt they were way too long for her.
Yeah. The only movies that I find acceptable to be 4 hours, and it's because I don't watch them all in one go, is The Lord of the Rings. They're 4 hours because I only watch the extended versions because I'm that fucking dork. And I love it, but it usually takes me 3 Saturdays to finish one of them, but I get really into it. And speaking of that, quick segue, did you read about the Amazon that they spent $1 billion on the season or whatever?
Oh, the Lord of the Rings?
Did you hear the big controversy or whatever?
I did not.
There's the racist side of the internet, there's a couple black elves, so can't have that.
Why?
But I don't know. Because it's not canon from J.R.R. Tolkien.
Okay. Tolkien.
Yeah, it's not Tolkien's.
Tolkien.
I always want to say J.R.R., but it's not. J.R.R. Tolkien. And then also the whole story is set. They basically took 1,200 years worth of story and they brought it down into one season. And people are pissed about it because all of the things that happen, the humans would be dead and only the elves would be around. And they're like, well, we couldn't do it that way, so we condensed it. And this guy went on a massive fucking rant.
So what they're bitching about is the essentially it's not a prequel, but even what the story that's written.
It's the Cimmerian.
Yeah, it's where we get all the history of Middle Earth that predates The Hobbit. It's also the single hardest thing I've ever tried to read.
Yeah.
And I've never finished it. Mm-hmm. I've only ever gotten maybe a chapter or first 12, 13 pages. It's a Bible. It's written like a Bible.
Yeah.
And it's very boring and it sucks. But if you can get through it, or you can read the Crib Notes versions or the Wikipedia version, it's got some awesome stuff in it.
Yeah, if you like the movies and then you go into a deep dive in the movies on the internet, somebody's broken all that history down from that, and
they leave a lot out of the movies from the books too.
Yeah, and Peter Jackson got shit for this too when he did the Hobbits, which is
I did not like those.
I didn't like them either, but also what's her name? Ant-Man's girlfriend, the Wasp, Eva. What's her name in real life? And she's in it, but she's not a character in the actual Hobbit book.
She's put in there just
she doesn't
to be...
exist. She was just Hollywood fodder for a love for the main.
Wasn't even the main Hobbit.
The main dwarf. Yeah,
it wasn't even the main dwarf.
But either way, she's unnecessary or whatever. But
the fact that there was 3 movies and a entire dumbly conceived barrel floating battle. Oh god,
that was so bad.
So bad. It's also, by the way, and I don't want to poop on Peter Jackson because he's made some masterpieces, and The Lord of the Rings are amazing.
Yeah.
And even though the elves show up at Helm's Deep, which is also not in the book, it goes against everything the books were about. It was the final age of elves. They would not have came back.
Yeah.
They were gone. When they left, they were gone.
Yeah, but they were a splinter group that didn't want to leave.
They didn't come back.
According to the movie.
Yeah, but even though those movies were masterpieces, and so is Bad Taste and some fun things that he did when pre that. Another movie of his that everybody kind of raved about, and I couldn't stand his Kong.
I rewatched it not too long ago.
Yeah, well, good luck.
I did, and I got all the way through it, and I do enjoy it. It is good, and I watched it after I watched the original 1939 Kong.
Or even the 80s remake with Kurt Russell.
No, I had never watched the 39
But that's a good one.
But I never watched it, so I was like, oh, I'm going to watch this. And, he basically wrote a love story to that movie. And if you understand that, you get what he was doing, but he needed somebody else in the room to basically say, that's too much, cut that. That's too much. It's too long.
Jeff Bridges, sorry, I said Kurt Russell. Jeff Bridges in the 76 movie, sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. So, for example, he doesn't have somebody around him to tell him no. For example, there's a...
Peter Jackson?
Yeah.
No, he runs the studio.
Exactly.
Weta is his, and all that stuff is his. So.
But George Lucas, for example, there's a solid story about how the original Star Wars were so successful because his wife at the time, I forget her name, did all of the editing. And had he done it, it would have been blown up and bloated
Or he only wrote one of those films. It
maybe,
has more to do with
but she
it.
did all of the editing, at least on the very first one. I know for a fact.
Well, no, I'm sure she did on all of them. Yeah.
That made sense and wasn't bloated. And I think the problem is he loved that original movie so much, and I get it, but he just put too much into it.
Well, the fact that he loves that movie so much doesn't explain the Brontosaurus stampede and how ridiculous that scene is.
He extended a little bit of a fight from from the original.
It's dumb.
It is dumb. And also, the fighting the bug scene is gross and unnecessary.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so much. I think, and I don't care what they say about if it was his love letter, that I think it's just Weta at the time was way ahead of everybody in special effects.
Yeah.
Kind of like Spielberg always is.
Yep.
Like when he did
Jurassic Park.
Not just Jurassic Park, but with the 3D one. Or who did that one?
Which one?
No, Cameron. Sorry, James Cameron.
Oh, Avatar.
James Cameron, Avatar.
Oh, those are coming out, man. You pumped? You guys want to see them together?
Nope.
Come on, we got to do it as a podcast. We're still around.
Maybe take some edibles and then go watch it in 3D. Yeah, but see, I think it's the same with those guys. It's just he's so far ahead of everybody in special effects. He just threw too much special effects in it. And it drags the movie on, even though the action parts are supposed to be great. I fall asleep in the same part all the time. Yeah. It's too much.
No, it really was. And I 100% agree with you. But that is...
Also, massively long movie.
Yeah, that is a good... That's a good representation of Kong, I think. He's like an actual animal. He's not like...
Oh, yeah.
In the Godzilla verse, he's not an ape. He's an offshoot. And in Peter Jackson's Kong, he's an ape.
Yeah, it's completely different movies. I mean, they are putting him in the monster verse in one.
But either way, I just think it was really cool. And I thought that, and also that T-Rex fight.
That's awesome part of it. That one is fun. Although, I don't know, when they start falling through the vines and stuff.
I'm all in.
Again, it gets all silly.
It's over the top, but I'm all in on it.
Yeah, silly.
Yeah. That was it.
That's it. That's all. Yeah, I mean, I made a joke at the beginning of this, which, kind of in the cold opening, that, the anti-Kevin Costner. It was Kevin Costner that started the 3-hour movie with Dances with Wolves. And
see, I've never watched it.
And then he did Waterworld and The Postman, and they're all 3-hour movies.
I've watched Waterworld and hated it and never watched The Postman.
Yeah, Waterworld is a colossally bad movie, and there's defenders of that movie everywhere.
How?
I don't know. They just don't like themselves?
You know what? I think I don't like Kevin Costner as an actor. I've also never watched Field of Dreams.
Oh, well, that's a great movie.
I'm not saying it's not.
And Yellowstone,
just never have.
And he's awesome in Yellowstone with his Christian Bale Batman voice.
I've never watched that either.
It's a good show.
Everybody says it's great.
Here's a problem Yellowstone has. We've talked about this. It seems like it's a flag-waving show for the right, and it's not. When you watch the show, it's not.
Yeah, my cousin described it as Sons of Anarchy on horses.
I've never watched Sons of Anarchy, but that doesn't sound right.
So Sons of Anarchy is like that.
No, I know what it's about, but it just sounds like that's like, yes, there is crime, but the whole thing's about land rights.
Oh, this one's all
doing everything you would do to defend your land, and then you have the Native Americans wanting their land back, and then you have big business wanting the land. Okay. So you have these three different entities that are vying for the Yellowstone.
Sons of Anarchy was basically about keeping a small town in California small and white, and they'd have a lot of shootouts with the Mexican cartel.
Did not see that coming. Never watched it, but I did not think that was what that was going to be about.
Yeah, it was.
I just thought it was going to be a straightforward biker.
No, like a lot of those bikers have like a little Aryan brotherhood to them. Basically, they wanted to keep their small town small, and so they would keep business deals and everything like that. My biggest problem with, and I liked Sons of Anarchy in the first couple seasons, but once you start
Peg Bundy, I hear she was awesome.
Yeah. But once you start having shootouts on the highway and the cops are chasing you and you're wearing your
colors
and your logo, your cut, it's called a cut.
Oh.
But you're wearing it with your name of your motorcycle club on it.
This is Bob.
Like,
call
stop
this number.
Chasing him. Just go to their club because you know where it's at. You're there every other week for some other reason.
That is dumb.
I'm like, this is stupid. Like, do crimes with another club's jacket.
Yeah, dress up or wear a clown outfit. I don't know. If you ever want to watch a way to deal with a criminal biker empire the right way, you should watch Mayor of Kingstown.
Oh yeah, I need to watch that
because he when it's time to deal with them, he fucking deals with them.
What is the movie with what is it? It's in America? De Niro.
Once Upon a Time in America.
Is that it? Where he's the gangster and the bikers come in, and the Hell's Angels come in, and they think they're badasses?
No, that is a Bronx Tale.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I couldn't think of it.
They know that they'd had a rep of going bar to bar, so they come in and lock the door behind them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a good. That's an underrated movie.
It is a great movie.
It's not a mob movie, but it's a movie with mob overtones.
It's mob adjacent
and mob and racial adjacent. Yeah,
it's a very good movie.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
Don't double finger me. We'll just go throw to Missy if you want to right now.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, go ahead. What are you got?
I'm reading this book. It is a DC Black Label.
New Batman one.
Well, I haven't read that one yet.
Oh, okay.
I am reading that thing, though. It's pretty good. It's fun. I like the art. I'm reading this book on Hoopla, though. It's called Last God. I told you about it. Have you read that?
No.
I gave you a little...
Ordinary Gods?
Last God.
Oh, it's a book. Sorry.
It's a comic, but it's not any DC characters. It's basically it's Lord of the Rings style world.
Oh, this is the Black Label book.
It's the Black Label book called The Last God.
I have
12
seen
issues.
it. I have seen it. Yeah,
it's very good. I'm enjoying it. Now, I will say that I'm enjoying it in the fact that, like, similar to I'm blanking on The Watchmen, where there's like at the end of each chapter, there's like 4 pages of actual text.
Or 100.
I'm skipping that.
Yeah.
There is like 100, and I read like the first couple, and I'm like, oh, okay, I don't know if I'm going to read this ever again. If I do want to read it again, I'll come back
Curse
and read
of the Black
shit.
Rose or
yeah.
whatever.
And it's like deeper stories, but it's basically
much.
This is the story is about like it jumps between 30-year periods, and
but write a book. If you're going to do it, write a book.
Yeah. So like, but the comic itself jumps between 2 30-year periods where the world was thrown into asunder by like these black thorns or whatever, and it's basically a disease that attacks humans, and they turn into like plant-like monsters, and it's all run by a evil god, and they got to get to the Black Stairs to take it out. Well, 30 years in the past, the king that is now, his wife, and a group of like elves and like a Thor-like character and a magician went to the Black Stairs, took it out, and they became king and set the world where it is now.
Okay.
Flash forward 30 years, turns out they made a deal with the devil, and it's all come to fruition. They got to do it all over again. And it's a good battle, and it's a good story, and it deals with like the flashbacks where like they sing all these songs about how much these guys are great heroes, but it turns out they're all just pieces of shit. And it's really good. It's a lot of fun, and the art's spectacular.
I feel like there's enough literature and stories written about deals with devil that you just know better.
Yeah. But I mean, this is set in an off-world before all those stories were written.
Oh, nobody. Yeah, I guess that's
way
true.
back in the past.
This would be the first story about it.
The author is Philip Kennedy Johnson, and
PKJ.
Yeah. Do you know him?
Nope.
Okay, he's pretty good. And then Riccardo Federci is the artist.
I wish I would have just made up some stuff that he had done in the past, and you'd have bought in. Oh, PKJ.
You know why I picked this up? Because he did that. He did the first run on the Aliens.
Oh yeah, and you finished that, right?
I did finish it. It was fine.
Yeah.
He's got another book I want to watch called read called Smoketown.
He's got another book I want to listen to.
Read called Smoketown.
I watched the trailer. It looked good.
Yeah.
Sounded great.
Dude, that's funny. But, like, Marvel puts out those trailers for the comics. So you're playing right into my hand. It's never made me want to read a comic book.
I'll tell you, one of the things I want to talk about and throw it to Missy, and again, we know there's
coming out to tell us you're pro Putin.
Yeah. God, man. I tell you, I don't want to get into it.
Yeah, I know.
I don't want to get into it. It's so ridiculous. What a piece of shit. This won't air in Russia. There goes our
damn it.
half our demographic. So we know how the quality has dropped over the years, and there's this great story written about when Carl died on The Walking Dead, how ratings have tanked.
I thought you were talking about this podcast.
Since then. But we're still going to finish it. This is the last half of the last season has started.
There's like 15 episodes, right?
I don't know. We're 2 episodes into part 2 of the last half of the last season, and I can tell you without a doubt right now, this is the absolute worst this show's ever been. It is so bad. And I get the Commonwealth, and I know they're they were in the comics, but I don't remember them being so stupid in the comics. It's so bad right now. But I'm like, and even Missy after every week, that was a weird episode. It just feels weird. I'll tell you what it feels. It feels wrong. It's just the whole thing feels wrong. And I don't suggest it. I'd like to hear Michael Schilling's take on it. I'm sure.
Yeah, because he's still Die Hard, right?
Maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen one of his Z-Man shows.
Show pop up on it. I've watched. He did a trailer on some others. He takes some weird takes on things sometimes.
Well, he's a black Republican. What are you going to do?
Yeah,
he himself is a weird take on life.
Yeah.
And he's a great dude.
I mean, don't pigeonhole him like that.
Well, he was a Trump supporter.
Yeah, that is true.
Vocal.
I mean, don't throw him out like that. Maybe he's not anymore. Well, yeah. That was pre-insurrection.
That could have been. I don't know. He's a great guy, though.
Great guy.
No, I don't know that I even have anything else. I can tell you, I talked about earlier, like maybe we'll try to do this game episode. If not, I'd like us to get a comic book episode in.
Yeah, I'm down.
I'd like to do one of those a month.
I like it when we read the same book, though, so pick a book.
All right, I'll pick a book.
I would say Last Guy, but it's 12 issues. It's 436 pages.
You know what? We'll pick something completely different.
Pick something tighter.
Yeah, something different that we've all not read. We'll see if there's something that we've all not read. We'll do it and see what we think of it.
The only other thing I have is right when I finished Season 2 last night.
Oh, I told you, man.
Dude, I got to be honest. If you put both seasons together back to back, that's a 4.5. It's a good show.
And does he not get better as the show goes on?
He really does. Like the hobble and everything. And then
that fucking fight with Batista at the end was awesome.
And Batista.
And now, also... Now, spoiler warning for everybody because we have to go deep. Now, and we're gonna keep this short. The show's over. We're almost done. But those little fucking sneaky, quiet people, when they get into a village where everybody can see, they're fucked.
Yeah,
they got major fucked in that.
But like, Little Lion becomes a fucking badass. That was great.
God, how much more do you hate the Queen?
Dude, it's good.
What a whore. And also, how much would you be mad at yourself because you would sleep with her?
I wouldn't.
You would too.
No, she creeps me out.
That's the way she makes you pray.
Yeah.
Munch on her carpet.
That was kind of hot. But she creeps me out, man. And her voice is weird. It's a great actress, man. I don't know what else she's done. I don't know what else she's been in, but
I tell you this, Jason Momoa deserves a Golden Globe nomination for this show.
It is very good and very fun, and it only takes about an episode and a half to get past the fact that like they ever get anywhere blind.
Yeah, or I don't mind that because they do adapt. After 1,000 years, they
that's what I'm saying.
My thing is how they build stuff that functionally look like our houses today.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they show a little bit of that, and they got the ropes and everything. But I mean,
no, they just the way they build them, they're aesthetically pleasing in some builds, and they look like our houses. Why would they look like? It would be the most functional builds. Like you wouldn't have rounded gables and stuff like that,
Like, and also, like, when you're, like, attacking a town or whatever, and you're sneaking in to take out a king, in the show, it's 2 minutes, but I mean, is it 45 minutes? Are you stumbling into the wrong fucking room forever?
No doubt. Well, they hear so good.
Still, like, if everybody's asleep, does the king snore differently? You know?
Yeah, but I tell you this, it's a great show.
Great.
I love the show.
Great.
Yeah, so.
And the set pieces are gorgeous.
Yeah, everything about it's cool, man.
Yeah, it is really, really cool. It's definitely worth watching. You should watch it if you haven't. That's all I
don't have anything else either. I'm gonna have one more beer and call it a night.
I'm gonna finish this one.
Well then let's just get out of here. Say bye.
All right, bye. Hold on your butts.
I was gonna say, I thought you almost ruined it. You almost went with Jay's bye-bye. That music's playing, by the way.